So as far as playing goes, the bar technically is pretty insanely high these days. I mean, the number of people out there who can just play fast beyond fast.
Like Dragon
is pretty
Force.
insane. So the question is, at least as far as fans or listeners, you guys, what distinguishes someone? Like out of the crowd of people who can play a million miles an hour, what makes them
I think the thing is that, yeah, it's true. Nowadays, everybody's like technically so good, you know. There are like so many fast and really, you know, technically accurate guitar players out there that it's not about, it's more like, you know, if you put it that way, then it would sound like that we're talking about sports here, you know.
Right.
It's like, you know, a lot of people, they forget about the actual music, right? You know, they just want to be as fast as possible and just like technically accurate. And I'm saying that, you know, all right, yeah, you gotta have the techniques down, and then once you get them down, then you can play a solo which serves the actual song. And that's something that a lot of guitar players just seem to forget about.
Or having a voice is important too. Having a unique style, I think, is something.
Right.
I don't know if you can acquire that or consciously go, okay, I'm going to acquire my own sound and style. I don't know if you can do that, but
vibrato, note choice.
I think that's what
Certainly
sets
vibrato
people
was a big
apart.
thing for you.
Oh, it's all, you know, it's all part of your tools. You know, I mean, you got your different techniques that set you apart, which you probably borrowed from somebody else. You know, we're all building on the shoulders of our predecessors. So, you know, my stuff is all a mix of Hendrix and Beck and a little Yngwie and a little Eddie and all that. I just kind of put it all together in my own way, and I'm sure we all do that, you know. None of us just thought of something like in the middle of the night and we're geniuses and walked out, unless you're Hendrix or, you know, some kind of an anomaly like that. Most of us are just taking what we've learned and kind of resynthesizing it into, you know, and saying it in our own way. So.
Right. What qualities in tone are important to you guys to kind of play the way you're comfortable playing?
I don't know.
Mid-range for me, that's just my thing, yeah.
Like
really, that's
kind
the
of
most important thing for me, yeah.
Less scooped, more
Yeah,
like
it's
a
like, you know,
raunchy
it's
full
one of those
mid-range.
things that, you know, it just sounds so cool when you're practicing at home, but when you're playing live, it sticks out, you know, it goes through pretty much everything, but not in like annoying way, so, yeah.
Right on.
What was your answer?
Mid-range.
Mid-range. I didn't hear that word. I was like, okay. All right. Well, that's where the guitar lives, obviously. But now with lower tuning bands, it's kind of lower mid-range, I guess. You know, but you know, I'm a slave to tone. I mean, all my life, my playing life, it's always been my tone dictates how well I'm going to play and how creative I get. If I've got good tone, there's sort of this feedback loop between, you know, what your brain is imagining you can play and what you actually are playing is kind of dictated by how good it sounds. You know, I guess in the most simplest terms, that's how I can put it. So my whole life it's just been about tone questing. And a lot of times I think I'm going forward and I'm going backwards because it's ironic, and we were just talking about this earlier outside, is that I'll end up, you know, 10 years later ended up realizing that what I was using way back in the day, you can't beat it, you know. So end up going back to the original stuff. And so that's wonderful how you just kind of stuck with what works. And, you know, a lot of people are like that. And sometimes I would look at guys like that sort of don't evolve. They just do what they do and they just stay in the same place and it works for them. And I would never be comfortable with that. You know, I'm thinking I always got to be trying new things and trying new things. But when I do that, I end up going back to the same old thing. So.
The same thing, dude. You know, I'm really open-minded when it comes to different amps and like any sort of tones. Just like you said, dude. You know, like eventually, I'm right back at square one.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this actual sounds the coolest. So hey, I mean, what are you gonna do? It's when you have fun with your sound, I'll just roll with it, man.
I like when guys do quirky things to get good sounds, though. You know, and just use stuff like. Jack White, for instance. I mean, I love what he does. You know, he's got White Stripes. He's got the silver tones and the Italian plastic guitar and all these funky pedals and plays the bass notes on the bottom and all this unorthodox stuff. I think that's so cool and creative and imaginative.
Billy Gibbons is a good example.
Oh,
12
always.
distortion pedals.
But another good example of what I was saying about, well, you know, always trying new stuff, which he does.
Totally.
But then, you know what I want to see Billy Gibbons play through? The Rio Grande amps that I saw him play at Long Beach Arena in 1973, the first concert I ever went to, and blew my mind.
Oh, no doubt.
It was loud as hell, and he had the 59 Les Paul. I go, that's all he needed, and that's what I want to see him do.
Thank you guys very much.
All right.
Is that it? Okay, cool. Thank you guys.